Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into a groundbreaking new reasoning engine called Ask Oikonomia. This is a system that fundamentally changes how we plan for life's uncertainties, because instead of just talking, it actually thinks. To really grasp why this is such a big deal, I want you to just imagine a totally normal, everyday life. Think about someone who is doing okay. They've got a job, they rent an apartment, maybe they have a car loan and a little bit of credit card debt. They've got a small emergency fund. Everything is perfectly balanced. But then you have to ask yourself, how does this person survive a sudden financial shock? What actually happens to their money when life throws a major curveball? Because let's be real, when a quote-unquote bad year hits, it's rarely just one isolated event, right? It's a compounding sequence of super realistic stressors that ripple through your stability. It usually starts small. Step 1, maybe a hiring freeze at your company. Then step 2, a sudden layoff, leaving you unemployed. Right as that happens, step 3 hits. The market drops, hurting whatever investments you have. And finally, step 4, your credit card interest goes up, your rent increases, and because the universe loves a joke, your car suddenly needs a massive repair. It's a cascade. Now, if you toss this messy, highly interconnected human scenario into most AI tools today, they will sound incredibly smart and confident giving you advice. But the truth is, when faced with this kind of complex life system, they are mostly just guessing their way to an answer. They're predicting the next word, not actually plotting out your reality. Ask Oikonomia is entirely different. It doesn't guess. It actually thinks through that chain of events, step by step. And that brings us to a huge problem in tech right now, the black box. A black box is just a system that spits out an answer without showing you any of the actual work or reasoning behind it. And honestly, people are totally exhausted by these tools. When your real financial stability is on the line, a tool that simply says, hey, just trust me, is absolutely not good enough. So here's where Ask Oikonomia shifts the paradigm entirely. Instead of a normal AI black box that kind of feels like a toy, it functions as a visible, calculated engine. It calculates the steps, it explicitly shows you its work, and because of that transparency, it acts as a real planning partner rather than a guessing game. To understand exactly how it pulls this off, we kind of have to peek under the hood. We need to separate the actual thinking from the talking. In this system, those are two entirely different functions, which are beautifully conceptualized as the brain and the voice. The crucial point here is that the reasoning engine, the brain, does all the heavy lifting. It takes that bad year scenario we just talked about, breaks the problem down into individual steps, follows the exact cause and effect, and literally measures its own effort. The AI language model part, the voice, does not decide the answer at all. It just acts as the narrator. So you aren't reading an AI's best guess, you're reading a calculated engine's math just translated into human words. All right, let's look at the actual data and see exactly how this engine proves its efficiency. We're going to put it on the test bench, sort of like revving a powerful car engine before the body is even put on. The creators actually ran that exact financial shock simulation through the system to see how it performed. But before we get into the results, we need to define one quick term, and that is ops. Ops just refers to the measurable steps of reasoning the engine takes to solve a problem. It's exactly like counting how many gallons of gas it takes to drive your car across town. It is a hard, measurable unit of effort. And the difference is honestly pretty stark. When dealing with that complex cascade of losing a job, rent hikes, and a broken car, Ask Oikonomia solved the whole scenario in just 49 ops. A regular, baseline approach to the exact same problem required 96 ops. So it did the same highly complex work using roughly half the steps. Doing the quick math on that, it means this engine was almost twice as fast, 1.96 times more efficient, to be exact. It basically drove across town on 1 gallon of gas while the other car took 2. And remember, this is a calculated result. It's not a vibe, it's not a confident-sounding hallucination, it is literal mathematical proof of efficiency. Now, when the system finishes its calculation, it outputs this incredibly technical-sounding phrase, reversible substrate completed successfully. I know, it sounds super intimidating, like something out of a sci-fi movie, but what it actually means is deeply empowering and really calming for everyday people just trying to plan their lives. All a reversible substrate means is that the AI operates like a completely transparent calculator. It builds a crystal-clear trail of reasoning. Every single step it took can be checked and even undone. There are zero hidden, just trust me, shortcuts. You can follow the logic forward, and you can walk those exact steps in reverse, It shows its work, completely killing the black box. And why does this transparency actually matter to us? Well, because it allows the engine to track these exact steps and model your life as the connected system it truly is. Your life isn't just an isolated snapshot of a budget over here and savings over there. Everything is linked. By tracking that chronological chain of cause and effect, the engine maps out the stark reality of a bad year. Month 1, you lose the job. Month 3, your emergency savings drop and stress really spikes. Month 6, credit card debt starts growing because the cash is gone. Month 9, your options just shrink. Because it tracks every single step, this engine can pinpoint exactly where your financial situation becomes fragile and show you which single preparation would have the biggest positive impact. Putting it all side by side, it is so clear why Ask Oikonomia is in its own league here. Normal AI relies on snapshots, guessing, and those trust us black boxes. They're great for fun questions. Ask Oikonomia maps an actual chain of events, shows its ops and speed up, and uses verifiable math. It measures its own thinking, making it a true, serious partner for real-life planning. There's a quote from the source material that absolutely nails the core takeaway for our explainer today. True value doesn't come from a machine that just knows how to chat. It comes from a reasoning engine that acts as a powerful, calculating brain, treating your life with the seriousness it deserves, and using a language model strictly as its comforting, plain English voice. Life gets incredibly complicated, and everything is connected. A sudden change can ripple through your job, your rent, and your debt all at once. So as you think about your own situation, I'll leave you with this. If you had a transparent, calculating partner that could show you exactly where your finances become fragile, what decision would you change today? How might that completely alter the way you prepare for your future? Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and we'll catch you next time.